Good morning and welcome to our panel discussion today. I'm Jessica Vaughn, Director of Policy Studies with the Center for Immigration Studies. The center is a research institute. We focus our work on studying the impacts of immigration on American society, especially the economic, fiscal, national security, and public safety impacts. And our panel discussion today on the crime problems associated with immigration is co-sponsored by the the House Immigration Reform Caucus, which is a bipartisan group of more than 100 members of Congress who also examine immigration policy and look for legislative solutions to the immigration problems we have. So thank you for coming and welcome. The first thing I'd like to do is introduce my co-panelists today. We're going to be joined by Mr. King from Iowa, Steve King. He'll be with us shortly, I think. But I'm going to start with the sheriffs to my left. All the way on my left, we have Sheriff Terry Johnson from Alamance County, North Carolina. And to his right is Sheriff Tracy Carter from Lee County, North Carolina. And Sheriff Rick Oliver from Yadkin County, North Carolina. And Chief Deputy Steve Henry from Pinell County, Arizona. Sheriff Sam Page from Rockingham County, North Carolina. And to my right is Sheriff Dan Altena from Sioux County, Iowa. And to his right is Sheriff Alan Jones. Alan Jones from Caldwell County, North Carolina. And we also have Graham Atkinson from Surrey County, North Carolina, and hopefully we'll be joined by Sheriff Chuck Jenkins from Frederick County, Maryland, who may be stuck in traffic. We're not sure. Maybe he can use his flashing lights to get by. But anyway, thanks for coming. A couple of years ago, my colleague Steve Camerata and I at the Center for Immigration Studies decided to look at the issue of immigration and crime. And specifically, a question that we were often asked was, do immigrants commit more crime or less crime than native-born Americans? And we studied this for quite some time using data that's available mainly from government sources, but also in the academic literature. And we found no strong evidence one way or the other for the notion that immigrants commit either more or less crime than the American population. But what we did find were that there are significant public safety issues that are associated with illegal immigration in particular. Illegal immigration today really is a form of organized crime. It's not a random thing that just happens. It's controlled by organized groups who control the crossings, transport, and ultimately access to employment in many cases. And it has become a very violent business and is associated often with other criminal activities such as money laundering, ID theft, and all kinds of other crimes that go along with it, and needs to be addressed as such, as organized crime, both by the federal agencies that are responsible for enforcing immigration laws and also by local law enforcement agencies who would like to help with this. And the criminal activity is not confined to the border area or even to traditional immigrant states that have seen a lot of immigration. I started to hear this doing training programs for Northwestern University's Center for Public Safety, and I would go out to places like Kalamazoo County, Michigan, expecting to kind of introduce them to, and talk kind of abstractly about illegal immigration and the public safety issues that go along with it, and found that they were already quite well aware and dealing with it on a daily basis. Places like Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, and so on. And when you begin to examine the data that is available, and there's a lot more of it that has become available recently, both through ICE and as a result of the implementation of the Secure Communities program, and also through a number of local law enforcement agencies who have been involved in immigration enforcement for a number of years now and started to track these issues. What you find is that there are some surprising hotspots of crime associated with immigration and illegal immigration in particular. I'll just cite some examples for you. Over the last 2 years in Gwinnett County, Georgia, there have been 7,000 arrests of foreign-born criminals in that county. There are 6 to 8 counties in North Carolina that are making more than 1,000 foreign-born arrests every year. Fairfax County, Virginia, in that county, 16% of the arrests are foreign-born. Places like Salt Lake County, Utah, Prince William County, Virginia, Jefferson Parish, Louisiana, Franklin County, Ohio, Shelby County, Tennessee, Oklahoma City, several counties in Oregon, Charleston, South Carolina. All of these places are showing significant numbers of foreign-born arrests. And most of these areas are areas of new immigrant settlement. And in fact, in your packet, you should have, or in the packets that are on the table in the back, a study we recently released noting the record levels of immigration that we have seen in this country and in areas that are not traditionally areas of immigrant settlement. So, and what the other thing that you start to notice if you look at this data is that there are also specific crime problems that are closely connected to illegal immigration. Most of the growth in the street gang activity is due mainly to the emergence of gangs that largely recruit illegal aliens and the children of illegal aliens. And there should be, again, a map in your packets based on ICE data from the program Operation Community Shield, where ICE SAC offices work directly with local law enforcement agencies to disrupt and dismantle foreign and transnational gangs in the United States and communities. And you'll see these communities are all over the country. There is a disproportionate number of non-citizens who are sentenced for drug crimes at the federal level, if you look at the data from the U.S. Sentencing Commission. There is a huge concern now about the degree to which Mexican drug cartels have been able to establish drug distribution networks throughout the country. More than 200 cities around the country have documented cartel-related drug trafficking activity. And this is not just spillover incidents or isolated incidents, but a real infestation that has occurred and allowed these criminal organizations to gain a foothold here. And they're well organized, well financed, very sophisticated, and established to the extent that it's going to take partnerships between local and federal agencies to deal with it. And then there are also, of course, the problems of ID theft, unlicensed and uninsured driving, negligent driving, and those kinds of incidents that are occurring in communities all over the country. So the problem now, though, is that, these problems are not new to local law enforcement agencies. We've also found that local law enforcement agencies are, in fact, very willing partners and want to work cooperatively with the federal agencies that are responsible for immigration law enforcement, not just to help operationally, but also to devote their own personnel and resources to this mission. To address the crime problems that are associated with immigration. And they find that it benefits everyone in the community that they are charged with protecting and doesn't have any impact on community policing or other initiatives that they're undertaking at the local level. We've also observed, finally, some concerns in recent years over what many will characterize as kind of mixed messages that are being sent in connection with immigration law enforcement. They've welcomed the establishment of the Secure Communities program, although many have been frustrated with the pace of its deployment. Most law enforcement agencies are very eager to get it, but ICE has been slow at implementing it in places like Massachusetts, Illinois, and New York, which are all very significant populations of criminal aliens causing very noticeable problems in the communities. And while the total of Department of Homeland Security removals has, in fact, gone up in the last couple of years and is being reported that way, these are removals that are the result of arrests made by both Customs and Border Protection and ICE. totaling nearly 400,000 over the last couple of years. And DHS has made a big point of getting that message out that the removal numbers are up for DHS. In fact, the number of arrests that ICE is making has declined over the last couple of years by about 20%. And those are the arrests that ICE agents make in the interior of the United States, as distinct from removals. It's gone down from it was about 100,000 2006, 2007, down now to about 53,600 in 2010. So that's a significant decline. And ICE has become more surgical and focusing its priorities significantly, and many in the law enforcement community feel that this has an impact on their ability to keep their citizens and residents adequately protected. So I'm going to stop now, just having given you that background.